I can only assume this version of Boba is much like the Mandalorian based on concept art, because there's just something about it that's not quite right. Hello and welcome back to another Star Wars model kit review. Today we're taking a look at the 1/12 scale Boba Fett from the Mandalorian. Kind of. Alright, and starting off the review as always with the articulation. The rangefinder can actually bend down. I think the paint has kind of stuck together a little bit on this. It is there. Give me one moment, actually. I just want to make sure I'm not breaking anything by bending it. Alright, that took a minute, but I just wanted to make sure I didn't break anything, because this isn't my kit, it's my friend's. There you go. Yeah, it can actually come up and down. Bring that back up now. Soft plastic, so you don't really have to worry about it breaking, but I was kind of worried that the paint got stuck in there and I was going to rip it off, so I'd... Anyway, it can move, is the point. The head is on a barbell joint, that is the neck. Not a ton of movement, but it gets a realistic range at least. Shoulders are on a weird system in there where there's a ball joint facing this way, which has a cup this way into another ball joint in the shoulder. You can see it's sticking out there, but basically it just means that you actually get a pretty good amount of range. There is a rotation at the elbow, as well as a double jointed bend for enough of a... It's not a full bend, but it's good enough. And the hands, as always, are on a ball joint. There is a forward-facing ball joint in the waist, like here-ish. And there's a rotation below that. So, a decent amount of range, given how sort of bulky this torso is. Hips are the usual sort of... Yeah, the pants are so poofy, it kind of inhibits the range of movement here a little bit, but you do get universal joints for the hips themselves. There is a double jointed knee bend, which is fine. Gets 90 degrees at least. Again, given how bulky the upper legs are, you really ask for more. And the ankles are the same as the Mando, where there's a rotation here, and a little bit of a hinge front to back, and a ankle pivot in the foot. Not amazing, but it does get the job done at least. So the articulation isn't perfect, but it's enough to get most of the poses you'd want at least. And getting into accessories, let's talk about stickers, or more accurately, color correction, because unlike a Gunpla model kit, this is a proper model kit. I don't think there's a single inch of this thing that doesn't have paint on it. And rather than go over this, let's just talk about how I painted it. Silver, red dots there. These cheeks, they do give you stickers, but I mean, paint that. These need to be painted gold. And then on top of that, I also did use some of the stickers, as you can see, for the details that I really didn't want to bother having to paint. And there's just a matte finish over all the plastic too. I did paint these to be darker because they were more of a light brownish color. It didn't quite look right, to be honest. You have to paint the... Really doesn't want to focus. Paint those, and the ones up here, and the silver in that, and gold belt buckle. The top and bottom of this are painted a darker brown, but I left the middle the same plastic as the pouches. I painted the holster strap because that's part of the same black plastic that this is made out of. You have to paint the weapons, but we'll get into the rifle and the hands in a second, but you have to paint the handle on this with some brown and silver. Technically, this is supposed to be left black, according to this design, but I actually prefer the sort of reddish-brown color of the Book of Boba Fett boots, so I just painted those, but you don't have to. Oh, and of course, you know, the black and the red and the yellow and everything on the backpack, too. And the little bits of silver and yeah, the flamethrower takes a lot of detailing paint. Oh, and the gloves are supposed to have brown fingers. So thankfully the rest of it's just left black. This is quite a bit of work. If you're not a model builder, maybe get the Black Series. This is very much a model builder who's a Star Wars fan thing when it comes to the amount of paint that goes into it. Now, let's talk about the actual accessories. You get 2 closed fists. You also get a open splayed hand and a trigger finger hand, which is holding the rifle here. And yeah. So the brown on the stock is painted. Weird decision. Also, I did silver dry brushing on it just to pick out all the detailing. Also, I will actually show off the pistol properly because it's accurate, mostly. I am slightly annoyed that they got rid of Django's pistol, but you know. Also, the backpack technically counts as an accessory. You can flip around that little piece in there if you want to have it up on an action base, which is nice. You can rotate these if you want. Why is my camera just refusing to focus on both? I don't understand that. You do also get a display base with a foot grip. They all come with this, but should at least mention it, so you don't have to worry about them falling over. And finally, you do get one last accessory. The actual head, which, as you can tell from the bottom of this, if it actually wants to pick it up on camera, is one of the ugliest shade of, like, cream color. It's not even close to a human skin tone. This is, like, a ridiculous amount of paint I put into this to make it look this good. Camera doesn't even really want to pick it up. Come on. But anyway, you can just... Yeah, the fabric rings here are really annoying. I kind of wish they just gone with a plastic piece, but I also kind of just want to fix it. These ones down here I understand because it would affect your articulation, but they really could have just made this one piece. And if you want him to hold his helmet, I do recommend popping the neck piece out. Also, I did paint black in here just so it looks a little bit less obvious that it's a solid, just flat surface. And one final thing, there is a frankly ridiculous amount of leftover parts in this kit. You basically get half of a Boba Fett, the Empire Strikes Back version. So it does mean that if you wanted to, you could give this one the shoulder cape. And I suppose if you really wanted to make a custom that's a little bit more accurate, you could use the Azold legs instead of the poofy pants, but yeah, you do end up with just like half of a Boba Fett. And as for a quick size comparison, Boba is, you know, average height for one of these Star Wars kits anyway. It's fairly bit bigger than the average Bandai high grade, but, you know, pretty accurate 1/12. Alright, to wrap this review up, I don't think this kit is nearly as bad as a lot of people say it is, but it really does have problems. There's some weird jank that's going on with this thing. I will say the head looks pretty good. They nailed the sculpt on the head. You have to paint it yourself, but I mean, hey, it's a model kit, right? The articulation is pretty much standard for these kits. The seams are fine. The accessories it comes with are fine. Honestly, my biggest problem is that this is... What version of Boba is this supposed to be? It's from like one very specific scene and the concept art. It doesn't look right at all. I do wish they had just gone with the Book of Boba Fett design, because that one's cooler anyway, but this kit isn't really bad. It's just kind of mediocre. Though I do have one massive complaint. Unlike the original Boba Fett model kit they made, they didn't bother including water slides for this one. So you're stuck with either using crappy plastic clear garbage stickers that Bandai makes, or just hand painting everything. Obviously I just coped with the stickers, but would it have really cost that much more to just add them? And that's all for this video. Thank you very much for watching. sure to let me know what you think down in the comments below. Subscribe and hit the bell to be alerted for future reviews. Come chill in the Discord. Follow me on Twitter, if that's even still around. And consider supporting me on Patreon so I can keep bringing you videos like this. And, as always, until next time, happy building.